All right, guys, that was super fast, right? You guys, my God, that's the fastest Negro alive. You guys are like, my God, he's fast. He's so fast, he's fast. But yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about something that I really didn't think that. All right, so Kathy Hochul has the indefinite quarantine and isolation protocol going in. That being said, guys, it was supposed to be nipped in the bud. And last year, a judge overturned that and said, "Hold on, whore, you can't just throw people away. You can't put them in camps and without any kind of due process." And with that, it was overturned. Well, now a judge a couple months ago stated, no, in fact, you can quarantine people for the next issue that arises. Sorry. Excuse me. You know, it's funny how people always want to text you and I shouldn't be answering it, to be honest with you. But anyway, so outrage, court ruling, wrong article. Sorry, court ruling allows state to seize citizens for indefinite quarantine and isolation. Now, the problem with this quarantine is called Rule 213. Rule 213 is within. It's within a protocol for quarantining. And in this rule, 213, isolation and quarantine procedures, it gives the state the ability to come in your home and take you away without any notice or for any virus or any infection that's circulating at the time. Now, I think you do take a test. Depending on the test, it's going to dictate whether or not they throw you in their homes. Now, my question is, guys, where on God's green earth are they going to get people to come and drag you out of your home? That's the bigger question. But we're going to address that question in a little bit. Sorry, let me close this shit out. So with that being said, guys, how and who is going to come in your home? Oh boy, it's always a fucking issue. Give me a second. Sorry. Anyway, so New York State Appeal Court upheld a ruling allowing New York State officials to detain individuals for public safety reasons despite concerns about due process violations. The ruling pertains to a state health department rule 213, which was challenged by Republican lawmakers and conservative groups. The New York Appellate Division has ruled in favor of the governor, Kathy Hochul, in a landmark case for government overreach. Rule 213, isolation and quarantine procedures, will give the state of New York the ability to come in your home, take you away to quarantine without any notice, and for any virus and or infections they deem necessary. Notice that part, they deem necessary. You won't have any options to fight, no court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit, and they can keep you as long as they want. The rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still in testing. What? This is one of the biggest abuse of powers this country has ever seen. This is only the beginning. How long until this is nationwide or even global? The ruling has sparked criticism and concerns about government overreach and the erosion of citizens' rights. The case is set to be appealed to the New York Court of Appeals. The involuntary detention is a severe deprivation of individual liberty, far more egregious than other health safety measures, such as requiring mask wearing at certain venues. Involuntary quarantine may have far-reaching consequences such as loss of income or employment or isolation from family. Isolation from family is the least of my problem, or loss of income. I'm more worried about the fact that these people think they can come in your home and take you. Now, where it gets interesting, guys, is they will not, I don't think they'll be doing this shit upstate New York. I could see them implementing, I could see other states trying to implement this as well, and Democratic states, I might add, but I know that there was a Republican state that wanted to implement this during Mr. 19. Now, coming into somebody's home who's armed to the teeth is not going to work out well for those people who come into your home. This is just, again, another overreach. And the problem is, guys, is she's putting this in the books. In her lifetime, there might not be another issue, another event. But now this is in the books. Now, anybody coming in after her could be like, yo, we're going to detain you. And for whatever reasons they deem fit, that they deem necessary, they deem the situation necessary, they could be like, you know what? There is that bad cold going around. Let's lock these people up because we don't like them. They could, and this is a test run, because this went in the courts, this got passed. Other countries have done this. This is the first, if I'm not mistaken, in the United States to do this. Other states will be doing this as well. And I can guarantee you the WEF, World Economic Forum, is giving them high standing applause for implementing this. Anyway, the court found that the GOP officials and organization did not sufficiently establish why they were so severely harmed, and that the trial court failed to adequately rule on the merits of whether the petitioners had the right to bring the case up in the first place. Now, when you do tactics like this, guys, when the judge goes, well, you guys didn't have any merit and the petitioners didn't have any rights to bring this case up, when they start doing this, guys, and they start using language like that, that means that the judge was already bought for, paid and bought. And he's going to look at this with a fine-tooth comb and go, oh, we got a little wiggle room right here. We're going to come up with a bullshit terminology, legal terminology, and we're going to pass this so that during the next whatever it is, we can start locking people up. Come to my home and watch what happens next. Come to my house and tell me you're putting me away. All hell's going to break loose. Now, the other side of that coin is you have to do testing. At the very least, I think so. Nothing has been mentioned about testing and confirmation and whether or not that's going to be the guide to get you into one of those internment camps. So if there is no testing and they're just pulling people out of their homes, there's going to be a fight. But if there's testing involved, don't get tested. Unless they do that shit like they did in Songbird, using your phone as a device to get you tested. The broader issue reflects the contrast in Mr. 19's response between Republicans and Democrat states, with the power struggle continuing even after the pandemic. The rule's language gives significant authority to the state health commissioner for detainment and isolation, raising concerns about due process and government overreach. The ruling has sparked debate about the balance between public safety and individual rights. This is another article pertaining to, the overreach, that is. Court ruling allows the state to seize citizens for indefinite quarantine and isolation. Due process no more. The pandemic might be over, but the plague of government overreach looks more permanent all the time. So that's the lesson out of the recent ruling in New York State Appeals Court after effectively upholding the right of state officials to arbitrarily seize and detain pretty much any person they deem necessary. Last year, the Times Union, that's a paper, reported the New York Supreme Court judge threw out the 213 rule on the grounds that it violates due process. This was the New York Supreme Court, but somehow the New York appeal court or appellate court stated and reversed that. Now, I thought New York Supreme Court was the highest level, But I don't know what's going on here, and that's how I know that there's a lot of fuckery going on with people being paid and bought for, because the New York Supreme Court was the nail in the coffin. But the appellate court, the New York appellate court, turned around and said, oh no, that can't be so. We're going to reinstate the quarantine and division, or the isolation and quarantine policy. Now, the regulation was adopted in February 2022 under the administration of Kathy Hochul, an elected official with such little regard to freedom or for freedom of speech that she has literally told the state conservatives they should go live somewhere else. I remember she told them that back in 2022. Her administration, represented by Attorney General Letitia James, who's been going after former President Trump this whole time, those two concocted this together, and Letitia James agreed on this. Now, of course, guys, November 17th decision, the appeal court ruled in the state's favor, not on the same merit of the Rule 213 itself or the objection to it, but on the narrow grounds that the challengers lack standing in the case. So, not that the judge turned around and go, well, you're violating people's rights. Again, they went on verbiage, language of them bringing this case to the courtroom, and that they had very little standing. That's why the appeal court turned around in favor of Kathy Hochul. This judge, I'm pretty sure if we looked into this judge, we could find a connection with this judge in the WEF, without a doubt. Again, guys, not looking good. Other states are going to implement this as well, I'm telling you right now, and especially if the World Health Organization pandemic treaty goes through and we sign off on that, a lot of states are going to implement this like that. And a lot of conservative states won't. They might fight it. But the fact that you are looking at people's rights and going, well, they didn't really have any standing on this case, and you're putting that bullshit above people's rights, paid and bought for. The challengers were 3 Republican lawmakers, State Senator George Borrello, Assemblyman Chris Tagu, and former Assemblyman, now U.S. Representative Michael Lowry, and the conservative group United NY State. The appellate division court ruled they don't have grounds to fight Rule 213 because its adaptation did not unduly infringe on the powers of the legislator, but it infringes on people's rights. Again, guys, the language they're using now, when they're using finicky language to get their point across, or to look at shit in the face and go, that doesn't mean anything to us, that's bullshit. So the appellate division had this whole finding in court. It's probably 5 pages long. 4 pages long, sorry. Yeah, it's insanity. I've never seen anything like this. And again, you're going to see other states following suit as well. That's just what's coming next, unfortunately. But anyway, that being said, guys, there's going to be a fight on his hand. There's going to be a fight ahead, especially if more states start doing this. I don't know who the New York State governor is going to get to rally us up. I don't see it. I don't see National Guardsmen stepping in. I don't see police officers taking part in this. There might be 1 or 2 sheriffs out there, but the sheriff's men, I don't see them following this. Now, if something scary hits the market, and when that I mean a pandemic, if something scary hits it, because sorry, and I don't see people coming to the homes of American citizens and locking them up. Now, some people might be on board, but like I was saying, if something scary gets released, and that scariness could be the avian flu, but if something scary gets released, this could scare people enough to have them side and agree with this. That's the other thing. They did it during Mr. 19. During Mr. 19, they scared enough people to run and cover their faces and get an arm ticket. There is that. Oh boy. I tell you, the prepper revelator was just texting me. I was like, what is he talking about? My life's in danger. He's making fun of me because of that email. But anyway, yeah. And guys, if you follow what's going on, if you follow the fact, guys, that we are seeing new ailments pop up and concerns like the one down in Central America. I can't remember what the name of it was, but there's a new concern down there that they're monitoring. And then the avian flu and how doctors are like, we should take that more seriously. If something more scarier comes out, then you can see people agreeing to this. And yes, we need to lock people up. Then all hell's going to break loose. Because they're liberals that don't even want to fucking deal with this shit. They are liberals that will fight tooth and nail not to be locked up. So I don't see this being a good idea. And I absolutely see a lot of infighting with this. I mean, the infighting that's going to ensue is going to be glorious. Because then, and only then, might liberals turn around and go, we can't do this. We got to fight this. I don't want to be separated from my family. I don't want to lose my job, because a lot of places will definitely fire you if you're detained, and then you're detained for an undetermined amount of time with no timing and no way. Companies will let you go, and you know who will take your place? Fucking Pablo, who just came across the border. That's who's going to take your place. So again, guys, all not looking good, all very suspect. Am I worried about any of this? No, because I know exactly how I'm going to respond to this bullshit. Melanie said dengue fever. Is that it? That might have been it. You might be right. Yes, that's the one that they're looking at in like Venezuela or some shit like that down there. You know? Anyway. But yeah, so all you guys need to know is that this could be spreading across the nation. This kind of ruling, this kind of policy, if you will, or laws. They're spreading across the nation, especially Democratic states as well. Just keep abreast to this and make sure that they're not sneaking this by as well while we're all sleeping at night. They're implementing shit like this. If I'm not mistaken, I think they try to sneak this one by at night, but people who are paying attention to legislation were paid attention to that and caught it before they, not before they were able to pass it, but caught it and made bones about it. Make sure they're not trying to sneak this shit by while you're sleeping at night. With that, anyway, guys, I'm going to go off the air in a couple minutes. I'm going to make this an even 20 minutes. But an angry woman is never a good thing. Never a good thing. Sometimes I laugh at it, and then it makes them even more angry. But whatever. Yeah, Adriana said her brother was in Colombia. He had dengue fever. I know that dengue fever can be really bad, but again, in today's day and age, there's enough antibiotics and there's enough treatment to fight it, so it's fine. But there is an issue, guys. If a certain ailment spikes the amount of patients that hospitals can take care of, that's when it becomes an issue. Other than that, it's not really that big of an issue outside of that. A lot of people fail to realize that a lot of shit, if reported early and treated early, can be taken care of, and we won't get to that point where it's out of hand and you're sitting at home puking into a bag. But anyway, that being said, guys, I'm going to go off the air now. I will see you guys next Tuesday. I'll be in Vermont, so I might do a doubleheader. I don't know yet. I'll see. If not, I might not do anything next week. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how good the internet is. If the internet's really good, then I'll be able to pull it off. The internet's shit, then I won't be able to pull it off. Other than that, guys, I will see you guys, if not next week, the following week for the doubleheader. Other than that, thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit, and I will see you guys either next week or the week after next. Thanks.